A new documentary drops and claims the government has known the truth for 80 years. Secret crash retrieval programs, buried evidence, whistleblowers risking their careers and their lives, nuclear missile silos shut down by unknown craft, defense contractors holding technology they don't own, and a propulsion breakthrough that, if real, changes everything we think about interstellar travel. This is the age of disclosure. Will you believe? Let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of Mostly True Alien Stories.
UFOs sighting. Many Americans have wondered about the dangers of unknown objects.
Scientists in Mexico pulling back the curtain. We need to save ourselves.
Welcome back to Mostly True Alien Stories, a show where every week we take one true report of an alien encounter and we walk through the details and decide whether it's a mostly true alien story or not. It's Thanksgiving week, and if you're one of those long drives to see family, now's the perfect time to catch up on our past episodes. And hey, hopefully your holiday is filled with good food, good people, and at least one alien conversation. Get at least one alien conversation in there.
Agreed.
I'm Neil Girandola, here with the only man who insists on fact-checking the turkey temperature with peer-reviewed sources. Let's say hello to Andrew Triana. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Neil. Speaking of checking the facts on the turkey, I actually bought a brand new meat thermometer. So when I cook my turkey,
You're probably pretty excited about that. It's like an early Christmas gift.
I'm very excited. The problem is that every thermometer that I found in the freaking stores, they were like this big. It was like Flava Flav's clock. I
For
was
real?
like, I swear.
What happened to the laser thing? You just point at it and go.
Yeah, no, I got the old metal one that you shove in, and
Okay.
it's only like this big. But my last one fell into the garbage disposal.
You didn't want to
It's-
stick your hand in there and get it?
I did.
That's funny. Well, are you excited for Thanksgiving? Are you having people over? Are
No,
you
no,
entertaining?
I just
Just by
got
yourself?
I just got a Hungry Man dinner.
Yeah.
TV
You gonna
tray.
microwave it?
No, you can't. Those are metal. You got to put them in the oven. They bake. It's
Okay.
nice. The apple pie on that thing is delicious.
Those Hungry Man dinners, you have to eat them right in the bathroom because it's just as soon as you eat them, it's like,
Oh, yeah. I eat it on the toilet.
yeah.
I have a
that's it.
TV tray set
Yeah,
in there in
yeah.
the bathroom. It's gonna be,
You got a TV in your bathroom. You sit and eat your Hungry
I just
Man.
set my phone up in the windowsill, put on Netflix or something, and then I'll eat my Hungry Man sitting on the toilet. Oh, it's going to be great.
Well, we're going to make everybody's Thanksgiving very special because today we're doing something a little different. We're taking some of the biggest claims from the brand new documentary, The Age of Disclosure,
Oh, yeah.
which
baby.
just recently dropped on November 21st. And we're going to decide whether, for the most part, they're mostly true or not. We're also going to review this documentary itself. Andrew and I had a lot of fun talking about this prior. What does it promise? What did it deliver? And whether it actually pushes the disclosure movement forward. And yes, we're going to get into whether that $25 rental fee was worth the squeeze. We were all shocked by that. For anyone who hasn't seen it, The Age of Disclosure is positioned as a major expose featuring former intelligence officers, military personnel, and key insiders who say the government has been hiding crash retrievals, non-human technology, nuclear-based incursions, and breakthrough propulsion systems for decades. It's marketed as the film that finally puts whistleblowers front and center with no filter, no spin, and no middleman. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so we can reach more listeners and maybe a few whistleblowers who still have a story to tell. Yeah, that's how you do it. Hit that button. All right, we're going to treat this like a collection of mini encounters. So there's about 9 or so major claims that were made throughout this. True reports. And some are familiar. They'll probably be familiar. Some are pretty massive as far as I'm concerned. And a few that sort of surprised even us. The Age of Disclosure positions itself as a mainstream entry point for people who don't live inside the UFO conversation. And in a sense, the film followed 2 central figures, Lou Elizondo and Jay Stratton. Lou Elizondo is a former U.S. Army counterintelligence special agent and one-time director of ATIP. For those of you who don't know, that's the Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. He oversaw classified investigations into UAP sightings, military encounters, and unexplained aerial technology before resigning in 2017, claiming the government wasn't being transparent enough with the public. Jay Stratton is a longtime Defense Department intelligence officer and program manager who actually led the Pentagon's UAP task force before it became Arrow. And he's known behind the scenes for being the one guy who has touched every major UFO case inside the U.S. government. Pretty big deal. From Skinwalker Ranch to Navy UFO videos to classified crash retrieval investigations. Two very important guys in the conversation about all of the government transparency. The movie was produced by Dan Farah from the Ready Player One fame, and it mixes personal storytelling, especially Lou's family, his health and emotional toll, which we'll get into because that was, to me, was a little, I think, off the beaten track for this movie.
Thought it was a little bit too much drama for a documentary.
It also, with whistleblower testimony, it included that, historical military encounters, and bold claims about recovered craft and propulsion breakthrough. And the film was expensive, $25 to watch. All right, so today we're gonna answer the only questions that matter. Was the juice worth the squeeze? First up, there was the dive into the hidden program. The film claims sits behind everything. The so-called legacy program. They referred to it as the ultra secret gatekeepers. It was the
Right.
secret of secret agencies that they didn't even know existed until they really dug deep.
Yep.
According to the documentary, the legacy program was founded after the 1947 Roswell recovery. It was tasked with retrieving all non-human intelligence, the NHI, materials, including craft and bodies, and locking them away from public knowledge. Now, this program allegedly operated beyond presidential oversight and beyond congressional oversight and outside normal intelligence channels. Whistleblowers claim the legacy program became a stopgap, blocking legitimate investigations, suppressing credible evidence, and feeding disinformation into the government ecosystem. And whether it actually protects us or protects itself is the question. So the legacy program, Andrew, what do you know about it?
It's made up of 4 sections, and that is the CIA, the U.S. Air Force, the Department of Energy, which kind of shocked me when I first heard that, and then defense contractors. What I find fascinating is was they broke it down. They said that the CIA is the science behind it.
Yeah, they're the oversight. They kind of oversee the whole thing.
And then the U.S. Air Force is, I guess you could call them like special forces. They gather and retrieve. That's what they do. If there's ever a sighting or a crash or whatever,
they have to go secure it.
The Air Force is the first person there, first people there. Right. That's they can't not do that.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Department of Energy, which I guess is looking at propulsion of these vehicles.
Yeah, is it Department of Energy and atomic something?
Nope, it's just the Department of Energy. And then they've added that they do it because they're part of the atomic legacy.
Okay.
The Department of Energy was there when they did the bombs. And so, I would have thought that would have been like Department of Defense, or some Secretary of State or something, something along those lines. Not Department of Energy. I would never have thought it like that. And then defense contractors, which we know, Lockheed Martin, all those.
Right, Skunk Works, all of that. They also protect the technology from oversight, from access to the public, because once they get a hold of the tech, then it's their property, is basically how it's framed.
They want to patent it.
So that way, if we go, well, wait, there was a crash over here in my backyard. I saw the Air Force come and take it. We'd like to know what that is. Well, we don't have it now.
We're giving it to these defense contractors.
Defense contractors. Yeah.
Right.
They don't,
right,
you
but
can't.
Wouldn't it be your property if it landed on your property? I would imagine it is.
Well, sure. Well, I don't know. I don't know how they deem that. That is an interesting topic. If a UFO lands in my yard and I don't want the Air Force coming in to take it, what do they do? What do they say? No, we're coming to take it.
Then it's finders keepers, bro.
I got to hurry up. I get my friends over to help me carry it into the basement or in my garage. Move it into my garage.
I would be right there, man, to help you move it.
So this is these are the 4 arms of this whole.
Like, you know what was fascinating?
But that's part of the legacy. That was part of the legacy.
That is the legacy. That is the legacy program.
Okay.
Those 4, it has 4 branches. Those are the 4 branches of the legacy program. Yeah. Now, what I found really interesting is that nobody that was interviewed in that film had ever heard of it. Like, here's Elizondo, who's high up with ATIP, had never, ever heard of the legacy program.
But then they kept running into
possible?
it. The deeper they were getting. Yeah.
How are they like part of the secret government organization that doesn't know about another secret government organization?
Well, that's the thing. I do believe that this becomes a that showcases that there are there's probably agencies still we don't know about. There's probably something beyond the legacy program that looks into the aliens.
Project Blue Book is probably still functioning right now.
Yeah, probably so. But there was an interesting comment in the movie, in the documentary, that they said that, you know, you have a representative or someone who comes in who has money, and they're going to fund different programs, and then what happens is they end up getting moved, or they retire, or they age out, and they leave, and no one else. And so that congressperson who started this, say the legacy program, died or is gone or is no longer around. There's no one overseeing it anymore.
It's not like it's carried down, you know, like they hand off. There's no
They don't hand it
off. It's
off.
like, I'm dying. Please take my seat at the legacy. He almost said it. He didn't tell us who. This is the other thing, too. Secretary of State has no knowledge of the legacy program. The Secretary of Defense has no knowledge of the legacy program.
How is that possible?
And even the President of the United States has no working relationship with this program. So
That's crazy.
who's running the country?
Is there any names associated with the legacy program? Anybody? Anybody that we know, like names of, you know?
Charlie Johnson.
Oh, Charlie.
I'm a
That guy.
whistleblower now.
That guy's
Charlie
everywhere.
Johnson. If you're listening, Charlie, you know I'm talking about you.
Let's see what ChatGPT says.
It's going to say, I'm sorry, Neil. Now I have to kill you.
Yeah, there's someone at my door the minute I hit enter. Who runs the secret legacy program?
It's going to tell you the CIA.
I ask this thing so many questions. He's like, again, another question?
Can't you just ask me about popcorn or something? Like, what pops the best?
ChatGPT says, here's the clearest, most accurate way to answer this without stepping outside what is actually known. Because the legacy program, as presented in the Age of Disclosure, is not a verified named government entity, but a theoretical black program described by whistleblowers, I'll give you the truthful, mostly true alien story ready breakdown.
Let it go.
In the documentary, right, we know this, legacy program is described as a deeply compartmentalized, ultra-classified crash, retrieval, and reverse engineering program that has allegedly existed since the 1940s. There is no single person is named, no office is named, no chain of command is revealed.
It's not true. They said CIA.
No, well, that's that chain of command. That's what they do say. So it's embedded across senior intelligence officials, select defense contractors, oversight immune special access programs, private corporate labs funded by government dollars, legacy insiders who inherit access from predecessors.
Well, I told you we can tell you what is safe so you don't get killed.
Yes, it did say right now, shut off all your computers, unplug everything, lock your doors. Do you think the legacy program is a true?
Of course it is, dude.
True?
Yeah, okay. I think it's absolutely true. I think it's not. There's more than this agency. There's more than this program in our government that they don't tell us stuff. Sure.
Did you know that the legacy program existed before you saw the documentary?
No.
Yeah, neither did I.
No.
Neither did I. So that moved the needle for me in this documentary.
I've read a lot of stuff that MUFON has, broken and they've cracked, but none of their stuff has ever mentioned this before. No. So I found that kind of cool. I found that cool.
But you believe them. You don't think that he made this up to maybe, because, there is a side of this. These guys that are trying to push for disclosure could make up the fact that this exists, because who's going to deny it? Who's going to say it doesn't exist? Because if they say it doesn't exist, you still don't believe the guy who says it didn't exist. It doesn't exist. You're believing the guy that says it existed. Ask the government, and the government will go, yeah, no, this didn't exist. This doesn't exist. That's not true. But you go, but I don't believe you.
Did I tell you I bought a boat?
You did.
See? Misdirection.
Yeah, no, I don't think this is misdirection. I don't
think
it's
all.
I think what I'm saying is Lou and those guys may have said, hey, if we say that there's an ultra secret program called the Legacy Program, it will help push this disclosure conversation a little further to get people to perk their ears up. It's a possibility. You don't think that's a possibility?
No, I don't think they just made it up. I think it's a real. I think it's a real thing. I think that there are branches of our government that do things that people aren't even aware of. And I'm talking people in power, supposed power, are not even aware of. And that's, they're just running the stuff. And there's nothing that we can do. I mean, think about all the narratives that we see all the time.
One hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing. And that is true. And that's what's scary, too, of these secret, ultra secret agencies. All right. So we have a lot to get to. So the next from there in the documentary. So your legacy program, we both agree. I believe it exists.
Yeah,
I think that was the documentary did it. They moved the needle for me on that in terms of what that's. So There's more details to this, but we have a lot to get to, so let's get into it. So from there, the film then turns its attention to how the tech gets handled. You mentioned the defense contractors. The documentary claims that the legacy program offloads the recovered crap, the debris, exotic materials, to the private defense contractors, and it shields them from FOIA and congressional subpoenas and all public oversight. So the contractors allegedly own the material, they profit from the analysis, they use compartmentalization to bury discoveries, and they hold technology that originated from outside the U.S. government. And then it argues that these contractors have become the true bottleneck of disclosure, not the Pentagon. So you got places where you and I just briefly mentioned it, Lockheed Martin, Skunk Works, they're reverse engineering
Boeing.
this tech.
I mean, they're all part of it.
Yeah.
So let's do it. Go ahead. Ask me. I'm on the Congress guy.
Okay.
Ask me. Where is the alien tech?
So the alien tech that we just scooped up, where is it?
I have no knowledge of what you're talking about or where it is.
But you just said we had alien tech.
I said that there was something discovered that we had never seen before, but I'm not sure where they put it or what happened to it.
No one knows where they put the alien tech.
No. I hold on. Do you know? No. He doesn't know either. Nobody knows where it went. It was just given to these defense contractors.
Yeah. So they've come up with this strategy in the 1940s, around that time, where they would say that this way it is protected.
Right.
We can analyze it. We have
plausible,
our government contract that we're spending billions of dollars with.
Yep. Plausible deniability. That's all it is.
And no one can access it. The public can't access it.
Nope, because it's held by a private company.
That's what they're fighting for, according to this documentary. They want they want to have.
They want them to turn over the records.
Turn over everything. So no one is protected. So that way, and they're not even saying from the past. They're saying today going forward, we want that access.
Right.
So whatever you had in the past, fine, whatever.
You can keep it.
Keep it. We just want now that to
what
change
you're discovering
today going forward.
Right. Which is going to be what they had because it keeps the technology keeps advancing. So we're going to have to see what they had.
Yeah. So I believe that this is a mostly true story, that the defense contractors are holding on to this alien tech. They've had
100%.
They are reverse engineering it. They are creating stuff. I think they've already created stuff. I think we're so far advanced that we don't even know. We're not even notified of this because of the technologies that these defense contractors have created. Now, let's move on to the next was these 5 military base visits. This is crazy to me. There was nuclear silos encountering the unknown. This is very scary. They really put a lot of time into telling us about this stuff, and they brought in these actual guys that, covered it. So across multiple decades, multiple Air Force bases, and multiple witnesses, the documentary highlights 5 major incidences. These are in no particular order, so I'm just going to start with this one. The Ellsworth Air Force Base at Mario Woods was a U.S. Air Force staff sergeant assigned to security police at Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota. It's located in South Dakota. In 1977, while responding to a security alert near a missile site, Woods reported witnessing an enormous sun-like glowing orb hovering silently above a nuclear silo before shooting into the sky at impossible speed. Now, he's not talking about a very small orb. He's talking about something that was so massive, he couldn't believe his eyes.
Right.
Next, at Whiteman Air Force Base, Terry Lovelace, who served as a U.S. Air Force EMT and tactical response medic at Whiteman Air Force Base in the 70s, Lovelace reported seeing a massive black triangular craft hovering over a missile site before it shot upward instantaneously. An experience, he says, triggered a lifetime of encounters and health issues for him. Then Robert Bob Jacobs was a U.S. Air Force lieutenant and optical tracking officer at Vandenberg Air Force Base. In 1964, he oversaw a telescopic camera system recording a missile test when a disc-shaped UFO allegedly entered the frame, fired a beam of light at the dummy warhead, and then vanished. And it says footage, he says, that was immediately seized by the CIA. Captain Robert Salas was a U.S. Air Force ICBM launch control officer stationed at Malmstrom Air Force Base, that's in Montana, during the famous 1967 incident where multiple nuclear missiles suddenly went offline. Salas claims that a glowing red oval craft hovered above the front gate moments before the missiles became disabled. And then there is the Jeffrey Nusatelli incident. You may have seen him in the UAP hearings that were just happened recently. He was a civilian contractor and security specialist. He was working at Vandenberg Air Force Base in 2003, and he reported that a giant red translucent square object, roughly the size of a football field, descended silently over missile silos, hovered for several minutes. Others witnessed it, and then that shot straight up and out of sight. Across all of these cases, there was different shapes, different colors, different witnesses, same outcome, nuclear capabilities compromised by an unknown craft. And the film argues that these incursions prove intelligence, intention, and message. Andrew, are these mostly true alien stories or not? Right here, all of these are pretty interesting.
I struggle with this one because it's like, it feels like they've almost pushed the envelope with this a little bit. And
they needed impact stories. They needed
no,
some
I
impact stories.
I know, but I could have made up a better story than that.
You're feeling like they're made up because they were credible guys. They all seem credible.
Could these machineries, could these vehicles have been something that we created to detect nuclear leakage? You know,
You're going back to
of
1967, 63. That's
Yeah.
tech if it's that advanced at that time, man, they keeping a lot of secrets from us.
Yes, of course they are. Age of disclosure covers 80 years, right? So that would have technically been Roswell.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely that time period. But the question is this alien tech? Did it really happen? Why would they make these up? Just again, going back to my point, did they make up the legacy program for the documentary? Now are they just finding guys to tell
If this
stories?
was alien tech, I think that these aliens, think about this. Valiant Thor that we've talked about, talked about end of nuclear weapons. We've heard aliens say clean the planet. What does that mean, clean the planet? Does that mean get rid of all your nuclear weapons?
It's dirty.
It's dirty?
It's dirty. They should have a giant Roomba for the Earth.
They should have a giant woodsy owl that hovered over the top of a missile
What would he
silo.
say?
He would say, "Ooh, give a hoot, don't pollute."
It's true. But I will say that when they had Nusatelli in it, Jeffrey Nusatelli, who was at the UAP hearing, as I mentioned, to me, because I saw his testimony at that UAP hearing, this guy was truthful. It came across to me that event at Vandenberg with the red square, the size of a football field, not only he saw it, others saw it, but they didn't come forward. I don't see a reason for that to be a lie or to be made up unless he's an amazing actor. I believed him 100%. And then to see him in this documentary, that made the other guys that came forward in this that talked about, we're talking specifically about these airbase nuclear things. It just gave them credibility to me as well. And I felt like every one of those stories was true. I didn't doubt anybody.
Could he be emotional because he knows what's there? He knows what those weapons can do. He knows the devastation that it can cause. And he's like, please, we need to dismantle this shit. We can't keep doing this.
You bring up a valid point. Just because you are a government employee and you work at the highest levels in the government does not mean that you're not human. And it doesn't mean
that doesn't catch up with you.
You aren't concerned about the kinds of things that you guys are creating for mass destruction. And maybe there are, at their level, there's no way for them to stop it except to come up with some elaborate story that says we're in danger here, not from just our own selves, but from somebody from another world.
It's funny that every time we talk about these nuclear weapons and the aliens, if they're there, why are they not just taking them? Just take them away.
Maybe there's rules for them. Maybe there are true rules of engagement.
Intergalactic rules, Federation rules.
I believe that there are.
You're not allowed to interrupt with him. You can only.
Well, we had on Sarah Starr, who was a part of the Galactic Federation. Right. She communicates with a couple of aliens, and she basically said that there are rules of engagement.
Yeah, well, those rules need to be broken.
I know that sounds crazy and woo-woo right now, but I'm just using it because this is our podcast. This is what we talk about. So if we take all of that into consideration, I think there might be rules of engagement. But, here's the thing. They didn't stop the atomic bomb.
The theory behind that is that they weren't really looking at us until we dropped the bombs. And that really got their attention.
They're like, they'll never do that. Oh my God, they did it.
Look what they did.
Holy shit.
I can't believe it either.
They did do it. Those assholes.
The stories that we've reported on, we heard that the UFO crashed because they weren't used to our radar.
I know, but if we stay true to this documentary, the stories that they brought in, I thought, to me, of the Air Force Base were very intriguing and interesting.
Right.
It kind of moved the needle for me a
don't-
little bit to go, okay.
Yeah, I didn't believe this part.
Okay.
I didn't.
All right. So once the documentary has established capability and access, it then pivots to a bigger claim, and that was about technology that we basically do have. And one of the main things that they really leaned into was this warp bubble tech, the propulsion tech. It asserts that we may already have prototypes of propulsion technology based on a warp bubble, a way of bending space-time around a craft, allowing it to move inside its own pocket of reality. And according to the whistleblowers, this is how UAPs can move without inertia, make instant direction changes, and appear to defy aerodynamics and travel interstellar distances in seconds. The film strongly suggests this tech was recovered, not invented, and now they're reverse engineering it, and they're looking into it, and it's all very interesting. That to me blew my mind.
I love the idea. I mean, I think it's cool.
And we've been living with it because Star Trek has warp speed.
Star Wars has hyperspace. Even in the Marvel universe, in the space realms of the Marvel universe, they use gates, right? They're moving at a certain speed and they jump to another dimension through these gates.
And all this is based on science in a sense, because we had on our space journalist guy in an upcoming episode, hasn't been out yet. He specifically knows of this science that is being worked on. He knows one of the guys that was with one of NASA's most elite divisions that is working on the science of that. And they're close. They're close to it.
That's as far as this guy at NASA knows.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what Lockheed Martin has done or
That's exactly
Fart and the rest of those.
As far as we know, because he's left NASA and now he's with a private group. So he's working with a private group. So we don't know what that means. But according to the documentary, we have that. And that's how the aliens travel. This is what Lou Elizondo specifically said.
Well, that's how these ships are traveling.
That's how these ships are traveling.
Unidentified flying objects.
So it basically bends space-time as the bubble creates just a
where I'm safe
atmosphere.
Inside the ship, but everything else around the ship changes so that I can travel
all
at
of the
this
energy.
speed.
Yeah.
Right.
If they have that technology, if we're reverse engineering that, do you think that it's already in works?
I'm sure that they're doing something. You know, everybody gets excited about the bullet train. You know, that travels from New York to Washington D.C. and like
think how excited they'll get about the warp bubble.
Right. And all these guys that are engineering it are thinking, well, yeah, once we fix that, how much money are we going to make off of that technology?
Well, that's what happens with the defense contractors. They immediately get this tech and they go, we're going to be trillionaires.
Why do they call them defense contractors?
They're just contractors hired by the Defense Department.
According to them, the Department of Defense has nothing to do with it.
Right. They don't, because they're paying you for a service. We don't have anywhere to put these aliens. You guys take them. Okay? And just let us know if something happens.
Right. Whatever you discover.
Go ahead and make your money.
Yeah. You don't even have to tell us.
Just let us know if it's you guys or the aliens when we see shit flying. All right. So the warp bubble thing, I think, is mostly
real.
True story. Yeah, I think it's true. Especially because we had our space guy on, and he was confirming
Matt's awesome.
Science
He
behind
was really great. He really described everything. He spoke to me like I was 5 years old because I could understand what he was talking about.
So the last thing that I thought was important to bring up is film goes a little personal, but not much, under this one guy, intelligence officer Michael Flaherty, who says the cost of this knowledge is biological and not just bureaucratic. He's a former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer with additional ties to Navy intelligence. He worked in roles adjacent to the Pentagon's UAP task force. His background centers on classified aerial threat analysis, intelligence reporting, and field-level investigations of anomalous aerospace incidences. He claims that during his years working around anomalous aerospace events, he was repeatedly exposed to what he calls exotic energy fields. They're emitted by UAP craft. According to him, these encounters left him with radiation-like injuries, chronic neurological symptoms, and long-term biological complications. Effects, he says, also impacted his wife and children after unexplained incidents occurred inside their home. Now, Flaherty believes these energy fields represent a form of advanced propulsion or defense technology, and his testimony is used in the documentary to highlight the hidden physical toll on personnel who come too close to these objects. He also suggests that the lack of medical support and institutional protection for affected service members is part of a larger effort to keep UAP encounters buried. We've heard this before from some other incidences back in the day where there's some veterans who didn't get health coverage, and these guys were stationed in classified underground technology divisions that supposedly were alien tech,
Right.
and then
Well,
that the government denied their existence and therefore
yes.
denied providing them
Yeah.
health coverage.
Yeah, they were exposed to some sort of radiation or something, right? And if the government said, "Well, we can help treat you for the radiation," then that means that they would have to admit that shenanigans are happening.
Right. But I
So
don't get that because they could say that, yeah, we do have technology we were working on, but it's not alien, but it did have a radiation leak and these guys got sick. Let's help them.
they don't even want that to get out. They don't want any of it to get out. If they're doing something that can harm people, they don't want us to know.
The thing with Flaherty from the documentary, I don't remember, maybe you do. I don't remember specific incidences. He didn't share that with us, but he was basically leaning
No.
into
Yeah, he
where
was
people are
he-
getting sick and killed because of the technology.
Yeah, I mean, he spoke mostly of, and he kept saying biological effects.
Yeah.
Biological effects
Exotic
and the
energy fields.
people affected by it. But he
Yeah.
didn't say, "Dude, let me show you this burn that I
It's
got."
because of this. Yeah. But he seemed sick. He seemed lethargic, but he didn't get into specific details. And for me, that I needed more details in terms of what he was talking about because this could just be government technology he was around and then it got
Right.
him. I don't understand this whole thing. We do hear this quite a bit about radiation poisoning, especially from our alien encounter stories that we tell. Don't you think aliens are advanced enough that they can create something that doesn't have radiation?
If you want to talk about radiation and things adapting to radiation, the aliens might have been exposed to radiation long enough to where they have an immunity towards it. There's a scientist that did a study near Chernobyl and the wolves of Chernobyl. The wolves there and the animals there, they were first exposed to all of that radiation leak. All the animals' bodies, their DNA has changed to adapt to where they are no longer affected by radiation. We're not capable of doing that, but probably over time, with low doses of radiation, as we grow older, our bodies will adapt. The next generation will be able to be immune to it.
That would
If
be
the-
awful if that's
if-
what they started doing, to just slow doses across the world of radiation, getting everyone their
Getting 'em
immunity
ready
built up more and more
so that I
and
can
more.
fly in that warp drive
Maybe that's
spaceship.
why they're not revealing themselves yet, because they're saying that's what we're not ready for. Our bodies aren't able to handle that kind of interaction.
Right.
And so we have to slowly
Poison them.
condition
Condition. Right.
the
Condition.
world to be
Yeah.
used to get the high levels of radiation to the point
This
where
world.
aliens are like, okay, now we can come down. Now we can reveal ourselves entirely. Imagine
Because
that.
you can't. We talked about the Brazilian alien, right? Everybody who got around him supposedly got sick and died. They
Mhm.
don't know why. Mysteriously, they died. There was a lot of stuff in this film too, especially with Elizondo, saying that he had a choice that he had to make.
Yeah.
He either needed to sneak out information or quit.
Yeah, that was a part of the movie for me that it didn't hit right. They really personalized him more than anybody else within
Yes.
this movie.
Yeah.
And basically said he's a hero. That's basically what they were saying. He's a
Right.
hero for doing
Yes.
what he's doing. But
Yep.
you had 30 other people here talking about all kinds of
Right.
disclosure. To me, I thought that was out of line for the documentary, but then you go, well, he's one of the producers. So it was probably important to him to say, hey, I got to be out front and I want people to know what I'm sacrificing and what I've done to make this possible and what I'm doing for the world. To me, it was kind of off-putting for the movie itself
Right.
because Lou,
Right.
we do appreciate you, but why are you calling it out yourself? I mean, it's, oh, my family has been suffering. I've been suffering. Well, no, y'all been.
James said the same thing though, but he was what I found fascinating was that between the two of them, between Lou and James just seemed angry.
Jay Stratton.
Jay.
Yeah. Yes, I know what you're saying, but they didn't call him out. They didn't say that he was
No.
brave. They didn't say that he's pushing
No.
forward with this. He didn't say anything. And you know who else was absent from this? Was Grush. They only
They only showed footage of him.
footage of him, but
Yeah.
he was not in it in the documentary. Why?
Shouldn't he have been?
Well, he's the one who keeps saying that his life's in danger, but I don't know.
Maybe that's why he's not in the movie.
I see him making appearances. He's making appearances. In fact, he was making appearances on the launch of this.
I bet you that they said, dude, if you're in this movie, it is going to kill your career. Don't do it.
Sometimes doing too much of this desensitizes the impact of what they're
Right.
trying to get their message
Right.
about. Maybe they save some people for this. And I also was wondering too with Lou, because they called out Lou, for his heroism and all of this stuff.
But they didn't get him a better wardrobe?
Well, that's the thing. Would they catch him on laundry day? They catch him on laundry day. What was his small black T-shirt he was wearing that was wrinkled, and his jeans? It was
Bedazzled?
weird
They
that
were
he would wear
bedazzled.
that for this. It was an important documentary. You could dress up.
Maybe he was like, oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I forgot we were filming today.
All right, let's get this out of the way. Yeah, aliens exist. Here's what I know.
Look at my undersized T-shirt that I'm wearing. I look so good in it. I love it.
But, I'm not taking away what he is trying to do. He is
No.
trying to do something important here, but there is also sometimes it leans into, it almost crosses the line of, well, I'm making a good living out of this. I'm making more money now than I did with the government. And because I talk about aliens. So
Right.
let me keep doing this.
The other side was like, oh, look at pitiful me. So that was like, oh, poor
Yeah.
me. And
Yeah.
then, oh, look at me.
The
Me.
film throws a lot at us.
Yeah,
The
a whole
crash
lot.
retrievals,
Yeah.
the nuclear shutdowns, the biological injuries, warp drives. And these are just the claims that we pulled out of it. There's so many more.
And there's so much stuff. Yeah. They talked a lot about ATIP.
Talked about the
ATIP.
agencies. They talked about their protocols, how they go through assessing situations and
Yeah.
things like that. Overall, Andrew, did it hit the mark for the audience? And was it worth the $25 that nobody knew they had to buy this?
No, because all it kept saying is it's premiering on Amazon. Premiering on Amazon means that it's premiering on Amazon.
Amazon Prime. So I figured if I have Amazon Prime, I get this
Right.
thing
I
for
can
free.
Watch
and
it.
All of the comments in our side videos that we do about the documentary was like, I got to pay for this. Forget that. Like I've got a lot of that in our comments.
That means that Amazon hasn't purchased the film.
And it took
Why?
forever for it to come out. Now, I think there was an issue behind
March?
the scenes about it
Right.
because it was announced almost 2 years.
Well, it premiered at South by Southwest back in March to an audience of 400 people who never spoke about it, who never said, wow, I saw Age of Disclosure, man. My mind was blown. Wait till you guys see it. No, that never happened.
All right. So was it worth the $25?
No.
You think?
No, I want my money back.
Right. But I wouldn't say that. I
I
wouldn't say I want my money
going
back because
to.
I don't want people listening who are considering watching it or are now interested in this because maybe they
Right.
didn't even hear of it to not watch it because it is important that the message gets out. It is.
No, I get it.
I
get
think
it.
there is definitely
watched
secret
it.
shit going on.
Right.
I don't know if it's alien though. That's the thing. I think it's science. I think it's science, advanced science that, the Pandora's box has been opened many, many years ago
Agreed.
and they can't put it back in the box. So this is what's come of it. Possibly. I'm
Right.
not saying either way, but was it worth $25 or should everybody wait till it's on Netflix or, you can get it, stream it free on Tubi or something?
I would wait. I would wait unless you don't know anything about this topic and this is all new and the only alien information you get is from us. I recommend just continue listening to us.
Yeah, because we
We're
are-
free.
yeah, we have on the pulse of the alien conversation. We are the forefront of all of this. That's what people come to us for.
I was hoping so much to learn something that we had never heard. I mean, the
Well,
only
we
thing
did.
that we did with the Legacy program, heard
The
about
legacy
that.
program, warp technology, the defense contractors, the order of the legacy
Yeah,
program.
but
I think it was
we were
important.
talking about warp tech stuff before Age of Disclosure.
That is true, but to hear it confirmed in this with all of these credible people, and now they really did pack the movie with almost too many people from the government thing, but they were for the most part just telling the same story. We need disclosure. Yes, we need disclosure. Here, we need disclosure. Yes, we need disclosure. Yeah, and I need disclosure because there's this group happening here and there's a group here. Okay, great. What people really want to see is you sitting down with an alien and getting in your warp bubble spaceship and taking off. This is what people really want to see. I want to see it. I don't want to see a picture. I want to see an alien going, yeah, so here's the deal. I was captured in 47, right? I didn't speak English then. I didn't even know about cigarettes. But now I smoke constantly. I love it. And nothing happens to me because I can take radiation and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But anybody who comes around me gets sick and dies.
Especially if you touch my skin.
Oh, don't touch me. You're not going to want to touch
It's
me.
so disgusting.
Could you be a deer and get me another scotch? That's what I wanted to see. I want to see the, Hal Puthoff sitting there with his alien friend, or, Lou Elizondo, and those guys just sort of in a little round table.
Can you imagine how
discussion.
awesome that would have been?
That would have been great.
That would have been great.
That would have moved the needle. But I do think that they overpacked the movie. Here's my assessment. I thought the movie was beautifully shot. One of the best alien documentaries ever, but it was just, it was a Discovery Channel on steroids documentary.
Yeah, it felt like a History Channel. Yeah, History Channel. Episode,
Discovery Channel.
Right. With a little bit more of a budget.
But more of a budget
for wardrobe.
Right. Yeah, it was no real dramatic music like they usually do. And then the alien turned to him and said, and we'll be right back after this. Yeah. But that's what it was. It was well done. They had very credible people in it, as far as I'm concerned. But again, they all said the same thing. That's why the interesting thing that piqued my interest was the Air Force Base nuclear stuff with the visits. That piqued my interest. The biological conversation, the technology, contractors, the government contractors, that kind of stuff was all very interesting. Does this movie, Andrew, in your opinion, does it push the needle for the disclosure conversation?
It does, even though I wasn't moved by much in this film except for a few things. We need more disclosure. 100%. If you watching this film inspires you to, ask for more disclosure, then great. Then it's done its job. But, I'm walking away going, well, I really didn't learn very much from this film that I hadn't learned over the last several months, year that we've been working together and me doing research on alien technology and stuff. So it's like, meh.
You and I are relatively new into the alien conversation, starting a podcast that talks about aliens, but we come at it from a normal perspective. We don't get too crazy or woo-woo about it. So we have learned a lot in this past 7-8 months of talking about aliens and telling alien stories. And I will say that we probably knew more about what this documentary was sharing with us than most people, because we've already heard these stories. We've seen these things. We've got these things. A couple little things that were new. So for me, the movie itself, it's important because it does keep the conversation going. It makes people say, okay, shit's going on. Let's look into this. But the mainstream folks that aren't in our bubble, are in our world, and there's a group. We see the same people all the time. That outside that bubble, for the mainstream audience, I think this will be a very interesting documentary. I think they'll be like, are you shitting me? This is what's going on. Do I believe this? I might believe this because the way the documentary was made. But your $25 rental fee pushed probably
a lot of people out.
That's
why they did it.
And they're not going to watch it.
Right.
And then it'll be forgotten because they're not going to keep promoting the movie.
No.
And so I think maybe you got an of interest from people that are in the mainstream, not in the alien conversation on a consistent basis. But the documentary, to me, is important. The conversation is important to continue to have. We want to wait till the details come out about, like, what were the numbers on it.
Yeah, I would love to know how many people actually purchased it.
Yeah, and I think that's not released yet. The numbers on the trailer, the free trailer that was sent out to promote it, said you got more than 20 million views across platforms. So if you're going to get half of that audience to watch this.
Yeah, the 10% buy-in. It's that 2 million people to watch it.
Maybe 2 million people watched it.
That's not going to move the needle.
First week viewership or audience size metrics data is not out yet. So, all right. So you're saying the movie, it wasn't worth the $25.
$9.99 would have been better.
I agree with you. I don't think it was worth the $25. I do think, though, that it is an important movie to watch. I think there's some really cool claims in there that are interesting, and for the mainstream audience, I think you'll find this very intriguing.
I don't think it's mostly true alien stuff. I think it's mostly true government cover-up.
Okay, but not alien related.
Not alien related. No, I think it's technology
that
we've broken and we are trying to make, and people are dying by using it.
You think it's a whole government technology science
wet dream?
Now, I just heard too and this is the big headlines thing, and then we're going to wrap up. But because of the movie came out, they're waiting for the president now to come out and say aliens exist. So we'll see if that happens.
Aliens are real.
Mm-hmm. Mostly true alien stories. Watch that podcast. All right. Today we walk through The Age of Disclosure, a documentary that set out to bring big claims, hidden programs, and decades of testimony into the mainstream conversation. From alleged crash retrievals to missile-based incursions to biological effects and breakthrough propulsion, the film lays out a lot and asks the audience to decide what feels credible. We took the topics that stood out to us, what was documented, who's saying it, what details line up, what details fall apart, and what does your gut tell you. Andrew says this is not a mostly true alien documentary story. He thinks it's basically government. And I say that this is partially a mostly true alien story. There is some things that I think is government science related, but I think there are some alien stuff going on in there. Did the documentary move the needle for disclosure? A little bit. Was it worth the $25? I don't think it was. If you're in the alien conversation, a lot of this will feel familiar. If you're new to it, this might be your first real look at how long this topic has been circling inside the military and intelligence world. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, share the show, and let us know what stories you want us to cover next. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We are grateful for each and every one of you guys. And Andrew, I'm grateful for you. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too, Neil. I'm thankful.
I'll see you on the next episode. Until then, be kind to the aliens when they get here. Nice job, Andrew.
Thanks, buddy. Bye.
UFO sightings. Many Americans have wondered about the dangers of unknown objects.
Scientists in Mexico pulling back the